It took everything I had. It took every fiber of my being not to start to cry in that moment. Not just because I was being let go from the job. Ooh, I'm getting emotional again. I didn't come here to cry. It's a brand new year. Getting fired really messes with your head. It messes with everything that you believe about yourself. And I can say that because I'm speaking from experience. So when I got this job, I was really excited about it because prior to that, I hadn't worked for a long time because I was trying to do a few things. So I didn't have a consistent source of income and I was making barely next to nothing as a content creator. So this job was a testimony and I was quite excited about it. And I also believe they were excited to have me at the job because they really seemed interested in my talents, in seeing what I could offer, what I could bring to the company, and just in a partnership as well. And keep in mind that these people, this company, they were very much aware that I had a YouTube channel, that I was a content creator on Instagram as well. That was one of the reasons why they hired me, So when things started going wrong down the line, I didn't understand because they knew who I was and the path I was on when I got hired. But anyway, I started on the job and I started to do what I was supposed to do and I started to bring even more people into the company. I was working as a TV presenter and producer at the time. I was also in charge of partnerships as well. So you'd see me at events, hosting red carpets, and then you'd also see me trying to liaise with other brands to partner with our company so that we could get visibility and all of that. At this time also, I already had quite the following on Instagram and on YouTube as well. So I started to post that, oh, this was where I was now. I would tag the company, I'd use my own personal connections to invite actors and actresses and all of that to this company because, this company was relatively unknown at the time and it was through my own consistent posting on my pages and inviting people I already knew and all of that. That was part of the reasons why the company started to grow and they started to gain visibility in the industry. And I can say it anywhere. I really went hard at it, right? But as I was doing my job, I was also doing my own thing on Instagram and on YouTube. And apparently that did not go down well with, the superiors in the company. I would get I started to realize they were following my page and consistently checking out what I was posting. And I would know because they would make side remarks about it at work. And I was like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to block this person from having access to me because why is what I do on my own time, on my own page, a problem? Why is it a problem for me to come to work and take a picture and post? And I still tag the location or I still tag the company page or something, or maybe an actor came to work, we took a picture together. Do you understand? Or I do an Insta story or something and I post it and then it becomes a problem of, oh, why are you doing this on company time? Just little things here and there I just started to build up, right? But as I mentioned earlier, when they hired me, they knew the path I was on, and one of those dreams that I had was to make a film. So I took my leave, my annual leave, and during that period I went and shot a web series. I planned it, did everything, went to shoot it during my annual leave, and then I came back to work, after my leave was over. So that was what I did with my own time. And again, this was a big hurdle I needed to cross because they couldn't understand why I would do something like that, or maybe I went out on my lunch break, during my lunch break to shoot a video off property. Went out on my lunch break to shoot a video with a friend of mine, maybe for a YouTube video or something. Came back to work to continue my work. That was my lunch break. I did with my lunch break what I wanted to do. It's my lunch break. I'm not required to eat. I might as well stay in my car and sleep, which was another thing I used to do. It's my lunch break. I can do with it whatever I want, right? But just little things here and there that started to build up, lots of consistent complaints. It got to a point where after just a couple of months in the company, I would come home and I'll be in tears and I'll just be crying. Because, when someone is constantly nitpicking, when someone nitpicking, when someone is constantly complaining about what you do and you can't seem to do something right. It became like that for me at that job, and it was so upsetting because I would get home, I'd be in tears, I'd be unhappy, and that also started affecting our relationship. That's my husband and I's relationship, because I wasn't in a good mood at the time. Of course, he'd gone to work all day, so he was tired as well. He probably had a long day as well, so he had a long day and I had a long day, and so it just became a situation of just issues now arising when what we were really upset about, wasn't anything that had to do with both of us, if that makes any sense. So it got to a point, I knew I couldn't take it anymore. And even my colleagues knew, like, we were all young and we all just wanted a path on which we could grow, a company that we could grow with, in our career and, pursue our dreams and all of that. So they were all also dealing with one thing or another with the company in their own way, so they could understand what I was going through, right? But again, I kept doing what I could, sharing ideas, implementing them and all of that. But I knew, my days at the company were numbered in terms of I planning to leave the company. So I started to tell my husband that, this job, it's taking way more than it's giving to me, and it's not sustainable for me. Even mentally, I was drained. But we really needed the income, because at that time, my husband was being owed months and months of salary. So we were living off of what I was earning. I would say that was one of the best things about working at that company, was that I was never owed a salary. I was consistently paid on time, and I was paid what I negotiated, during our interview sessions. So that was what my husband and I were living off of at the time. So it would just repeatedly appeal to me that, okay, babe, just hold on. I know. But, just persevere whilst he tried to get a better job, and then I could leave, the company. So that was a conversation we had. And I was like, oh, okay, it's understandable. I can't just leave and then we don't have anything to leave off of. So I continued with the company. But then on this particular day, at this company, I was there with my colleagues, we're all sitting around, and my boss sent me an email saying he wanted to have a meeting with me at a certain time. And I read the email, and I can say to you confidently that I knew I was going to get fired. I just knew it, because prior to that day, it's been crickets, just a lot of silence, coming from someone that was consistently up my behind about one thing or another. Like, we can drag one issue for 2 months, and I'm not kidding. I was working with someone that did not know how to let something go. Someone that would take an issue and would drag it out and we'll be exchanging emails, and these emails will be color-coded, So maybe it would say his own in red, and I have to respond in purple, and then it would respond in green. If you'd see our email thread, it was hilarious, dragging one issue that could have just been, well, moving forward, they should not okay? Period. We move on, right? No, that wasn't the situation. It was a situation of, so this happened. Explain to me why this happened. And then I explain. And then, okay, but in your explanation, so how about and then I have to respond again. And then the person says Just talking about it is exhausting, and I can laugh about it now, but it was a very unhealthy period for me. I cannot. This is the first time that I would actually sit down to recount my experience working at this company, because after I left, I just left. I just put it all behind me. But I'll get to that shortly. So let's backtrack to the fateful day where prior to that day, he hadn't said a lot, he had just been quiet, he had just been saying a lot of okay, whatever. So by the time I saw the email that day, I read it and I looked at my colleagues and I said to them, guys, I'm about to get fired. It was the most ridiculous thing. Keep in mind, I've never been fired before, ever in my life. If I've left a job, it was because I chose to leave. It was because I just wanted to move on from that job. So this was my first time having this experience of being let go. So I said to them, I was like, I'm about to get fired. And they were like, huh? What's going on? Like, it was such an assertive statement to them that, like, they were confused. Like, how can I say something like that with so much confidence? And I smiled and I was like, I have the spirit in me. And my spirit is telling me something. It's telling me you're about to let go. You're about to be let go from this job. And they were like, no, I'm overthinking it. I should not think like that. I should be positive in my thinking. It might just be a meeting. I was like, so I was like, okay. But in my mind, I knew. So what I started to do was to pack up my things. Before the meeting, I cleared up my table, cleared up my desk. I was so sure I was about to get fired. And I cleaned out my computer, just whatever needed to be cleaned up, deleted or whatever, just packed up all my personal effects, right? And then I got an email saying, oh, when I'm coming for the meeting, I should bring my computer with me. That had never happened before. When I go to meetings, do I take my notes or did I used to take my notes with me? Of course, I would carry my notebook with me with my pen. I would take notes and all of that. I'd never been instructed to bring my computer with me. So that was like the second aha moment for me, like, oh yeah, this is definitely happening. So when it was time for the meeting, I was also packed up, right? So I carried my computer as instructed, which was the company's computer, and I went, laptop, and I went into the room and my two bosses were there. And so they sat down and were like, oh, I should put my laptop on the table. And I did. And they had these very serious frowns on their faces. And they were like, oh, they've been thinking about it and they've decided. This was like second week of the month during the day, I think like 1 p.m. or something. And they were like, so they've been thinking about it and they've decided to let me go from the job. They didn't think we could continue together. They see that I'm very involved with my own thing and what I do, and that it's conflicting with theirs, and I'm paying more attention to my own thing than theirs, and so they're not comfortable with that, and they were going to let me go. It took everything I had. It took every fiber of my being not to start to cry in that moment. I was so hurt. I was so heartbroken. Not necessarily, not just because I was being let go from the job, but because I was being let go from the job. And it wasn't that I got to leave by myself. Oh, I'm getting emotional again. I didn't come here to cry. It's a brand new year. I was hurt. One, I really liked the job. I liked what I was doing at that job. It was what I wanted to do. It was along the path I wanted to be. I liked the people I worked with for the most part, and I wanted to leave on my own terms, but that was taken away from me because I didn't get to leave because, again, we needed the money. So when they were like, that's it, I was like, oh, okay. What was I supposed to say? Because I was also going to leave anyway at some point. It was just them letting me go before I was ready, So I wasn't going to fight or try to convince them to keep me. It's like someone breaking up with you and you're saying, oh, please, what did I do? No, that's never been me, to the glory of God. So I just said, okay. And they were like, oh, I don't need to finish out the day. I should just leave my computer there and I could pack my things and I could just leave right away. that was the stroke that broke the camel's back for me. That was like, am I dirt? Am I trash? Like, oh, like you're done and just leave right away. You don't need to end the day, and we'll pay you your monthly salary for the month as compensation. I worked hard for that company. I worked really hard for that company, and I can say it anywhere that I worked hard for that company. And to be let go in such an embarrassing manner, it took everything in me not to cry in that moment. So I walked upstairs, I just said okay, and I left, and I went back upstairs, carried my bag, because as I said, I have the spirit in me. So I knew what was going to happen, but that did not take away from the effect of it. Does that make sense? When I told my colleagues I just gotten fired, they screamed. They could not believe it. They could not believe it. I just carried my bag and got into my car and I drove out. And as I was driving home, I called my husband, who was at work. And the moment I said it, I just got fired. Like, the moment I said it, I just started to cry. I was like, I couldn't hold the tears back anymore. And I was crying. And he said to me, it's okay, I shouldn't cry. He said I was going to leave anyway, so, but that he knows that I'm hurt, but he doesn't want me to cry. He's still at work. He's going to wrap up as fast as it can, and he'll come meet me at home. I should just go home. And I went home, and I continued to cry. And he came home, of course. I'm trying to hold my tears together. He came home and I tried to, get myself together, and he also tried to console me, remind me that, you're going to leave anyway, and, the job had done what it needed to do in our lives because, are you ready? Are you ready? Because, was it a week prior to the day I got fired? A week prior, my husband signed a contract for a new job. This happened in November. It happened like 2 weeks to my birthday, right? And a week after my husband got a new job. So initially my plan was, I'll finish out the year and then let them know that after the holidays I wouldn't be coming back. But then, they told me to leave before then. So it happened like 2 weeks on my birthday. But even though I was heartbroken for what had happened to me, I was excited because I was like, see, the job had done what it needed to do, because my husband already got another job anyway, which was what was keeping me at the job in the first place. So this was God saying, you don't need to wait out the year. What year are you waiting out? Your time has come to an end at this place, and it's time to move on. And that was what I did. I mean, it was hurtful, it was painful. I spent a lot of time reflecting on myself. Was it something I did? Was this something I said? What I could have done better? And it took a lot. It took a whole lot for me not to break down and for me not to see myself as, what am I going to do now? It's all over, I'm sharing this experience now at the beginning of this year because I know there is at least one person out there that must have gone through something similar recently. Maybe you were let go from a job, maybe a company that you were working with packed up and they needed to do a layoff, and you're thinking to yourself, what next? Listen, there's a whole lot more that is yet to come. There is no job that is in control of your destiny. There is no man on this earth that is the owner of your destiny, that has the remote control to your destiny. It is only God. So don't break. Whatever you do, cry if you need to cry. I cried a lot. Cry if you need to cry, but don't cry for too long. Pick up yourself. Find something else to do and just keep moving. As long as you're alive and you're moving, even if it's baby steps that you're taking, as long as you're moving, there is hope. There is nobody that can say in this world you'll never walk again. It's a lie. It's a lie. Whether you're an actor, an actress, a content creator, a musician, you're working with a company, advertising, whatever it is, if I start to count for you the numerous incredible things I have done since I left that company, you would not believe it. You would say to me that company was even holding you back. But I don't think of it that way, because I still see it as a stepping stone to greater heights. I still see that company and my time there and my experience there as a part of my journey, as a part of my growth. And that is okay, right? But you cannot stop. You cannot break. You have to keep moving. You have to keep going. So in this new year, 2024, don't let any man hold you back. Don't let anybody, any job, anything hold you back. Don't let any breakup, any heartbreaking experience that you might have had, don't let it be the determinant of your life. Don't see it as the full stop to your life. No, it's a chapter that's ending. There are so many more chapters to come that you haven't even gotten to, that you haven't even opened. Because God is going to keep doing great things in your life. You're not just alive by chance or just because you're occupying space on earth. No, there's a purpose to you. There's a reason why you're still breathing, and you find it only if you keep moving. Baby steps, crawling, rolling on the floor. As long as you keep moving, you're going to come out on top. Have you ever been fired? Have you ever been laid off, sacked, let go from a job for whatever reason? Please let me know in the comment section what your experience has been. If you've never had that as an experience or whatever, or if you have left a job, let me know as well in the comment section. I hope this video was valuable for you. And if it was, again, please drop a comment in the comment section. Thumbs up the video as well. I hope you enter this year 2024 with an incredible and hopeful heart, because it is loaded with blessings for you and I, and we will get them in Jesus' name. Amen. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you aren't. Okay, thumbs up the video once again. I can't wait to see you again very, very soon. I pray God blesses you, your homes, your marriages, your relationships. Most importantly, I pray God blesses you. Remain in God, and God bless you. Bye.